A Manual of Hadith by Maulana Muhammad Ali, M.A. LLB, author of an English translation of the Holy Quran with commentary and texts, an Urdu translation and commentary, Muhammad the Prophet, Islam, the Religion of Humanity, the Religion of Islam, Early Caliphate, the Ahmadiyya Movement, the Babi Religion, the New World Order, and there's more stuff by him. Preface. It is now about 45 years since, having finished my studies in arts and law, I was enlisted at about the age of 25 as a soldier for the literary service of Islam by the great Muslim reformer of this age, Hadhrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement. Thank God that during this period, he has granted me to contribute to Islamic religious literature more than 6,000 pages in English and 10,000 pages in Urdu. In spite of other multifarious duties, first as secretary of the Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya at Qadian, and then as president of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman Ishaat Islam Lahore. I'm thankful to God again that He has vouchsafed me at this advanced age to do yet another service to the literary cause of Islam. Yeah, I would hope to have that many videos. Which is not quite the same as having something rented and printed. But I'm not through this claiming that about Ghulam Ahmad. I'm not confirming that by sharing this. This present work was undertaken to fill primarily the need of English converts to Islam, but it is really a work, the need of which is felt throughout the English-speaking Muslim world. It is a faithful picture of the culture of Islam at its source, free from foreign influence and independent of later growth. It shows what the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah, the singular and definitive word for God, be on him, said and did, and what lives his companions led. This is technically known as the Sunnah, literally a manner of acting or mode of life of the Holy Prophet, and is popularly known as Hadith, a saying, an event, being a record of what he said, did, or approved. Hadith literature is vast, there being several collections, well, more than several, but at least 10 big ones, right? The most important of which are known as the Sahih Sittah, are the 6 reliable works. Among these, the Bukhari, more fully the Jami of Muhammad Ismail al-Bukhari, undoubtedly holds the first place. It is not only the first comprehensive collection of hadith, but also the most authentic one, according to Sunnis. As a recent European writer rightfully observes, Bukhari undertook a research into the then prevalent hadith with all the painstaking accuracy of a modern writer. In addition to this, in his fuqaha, or acumen, Bukhari surpasses all other collectors of hadith. A translation of the Sahih Bukhari was undertaken about 8 years ago by Mr. Muhammad Asad, an Australian convert to Islam, but at first owing perhaps to the lack of means as compared with the difficulties of the undertaking, and later to his internment owing to the war, only a fractional part of the work has been published. Even if completed, the work at a price of 120 rubles, is that what RS stands for, could decorate only the shelves of big libraries and would not be accessible to the man in the street. But really, the Bukhari is every Muslim's need and is this need that I've tried to fulfill by publishing the present work. In a manual of Hadith, I've tried to give a compendium of the Sahih Bukhari so far as subjects relating to the practical side of a Muslim's life are concerned. I have not touched the historical or prophetical portions of this great work, as I consider this beyond the scope of a handy treatise. In the arrangement of chapters too, I have mainly followed Bukhari, but as my object was to make this short treatise complete so far as the requirements of an ordinary Muslim are concerned, I have freely drawn upon other collections of hadith, particularly that well-known work called the Mishkat, rendered into English by Matthews about the year 1870. I have been compelled, owing to the shortage of paper due to war conditions, to omit many of the details which I originally intended to include in this work. As a matter of fact, I had to cut about a third of the manuscript when I found that sufficient paper could not be had in the market, and the work has suffered on that account. In its present form contains 690 hadith, out of which 513, or about 3/4, have been taken from the Bukhari. I may further draw the reader's attention to two special features of this work. In the first place, every chapter of this work commences with verses of the Holy Quran dealing with the particular subject of that chapter. In this, again, I have followed Bukhari, who heads the more important of its chapters with text from the Holy Quran, and thus shows that Hadith is only an explanation of the Holy Prophet and a secondary source of the teachings of Islam. In fact, a manual of the Holy Quran is an even greater need than this book, and I have long cherished the idea of supplying this desideratum, though I do not know if I shall be spared for its fulfillment. The second feature of this book, which is quite a novelty so far as hadith literature is concerned, is a brief headnote following the quotations from the Holy Quran, which is given a brief summary of the teachings of the Holy Quran and hadith on the subject. The headnote will be found useful as it contains a summary of every hadith given in the chapter, and thus enables the reader to lay his finger on the exact point which is of particular interest to him. By referring to this headnote, he will be able to find the Holy Prophet's guidance on a particular point without going through the whole chapter. I have thus tried my best to facilitate the task of the reader, who, in these days of preoccupation with subjects of material interest, cannot devote much time to what pertains to his higher moral interests. As an introduction to this work, I would recommend the reader to go through the chapter on Sunnah or Hadith in my book, The Religion of Islam. In conclusion, I must give expression to my thanks to Mr. F.W. Buston, editor of the Civil and Military Gazette, Lahore, for having gone through the manuscript, and to Malak Sher Muhammad Khan, B.A., for having gone through a part of the proofs. And Muhammad Ali said this, the second edition of the Manual of Hadith is being brought out without any material charge, and that is part of why it seems like commenting on this is more so the thing. Abu Dawood, the Musnad of Ahmed, Bukhari, Dara Qutni, Al-Farada, Id al-Duriya, Manual Hadith, Ibn Majah, Lane's Arabic, English Lexicon, Muslim, Mishkat, Muwatta, Nahaya, Nasa'i, Mufradat of Ragib, Tirmidhi, verse of the Quran, or AD, AH, B, DQ, FR, H, little h, IM, LL, M, MSH, MT, N, and S, R, TR, and V.